Okay, what's up guys? DZ here, and I've kind of procrastinated this deck profile for a variety of reasons. I think like 3 weeks ago, maybe even a month ago, I promised a couple people that I would post this, and then I couldn't find scatter shots, so that pushed me back a couple weeks. Finally picked them up, and then like I was playing Injectors for a while, I was playing Heroes for a while, events I was going for, and then right when I was about to post it, that guy from YCS Charleston topped, and then I was like, I don't want to post this because people are gonna get mad and think that I'm just like following the hype train. So we're like 2 weeks after YCS Charleston. I think the hype has died down, and still, there's reasons I didn't want to post this right now. It's not max rarity, which is frustrating, and it's not even not max rarity for lack of trying. It's not max rarity because the guy that has the two secret rockets I'm trying to get is really being slow and annoying and fat. So I don't know. I want to get this discussion out there though, because I think Volcanics are really good going forward. They have an excellent BA matchup, a respectable Cliffort matchup, and I would say I don't want to say excellent Necroz matchup, but definitely I would argue one of the best rogue matchups against Necroz. They don't lose. Like there's a lot of reasons. Like Volcanics don't like care about the Dijin lock like at all. Like who fucking cares? Like you're not really special summoning. You're not special summoning outside of like Summoner Monk, which isn't like that's not even like your best opening. That's just I mean it's a good opening, but it's not like your best opening. Um it's like you don't really care. You can just scatter shot their entire field. They don't really have a good way to protect an entire field from scatter shot. Dungnir only protects one of them from being destroyed, if I remember correctly. And like good Cliffort matchup, or like passable Cliffort matchup, just because you're drawing like twice as many as they're searching, depending on the setup, or at least you're drawing the same amount that they're searching, and you're drawing into like floodgates and trap cards while they're just getting more Cliffort cards. And then against BA, you can just blow up their entire field at the drop of the hat, as well as main deck a bunch of floodgates and just shit on their stuff. So I want to get the to get in the deck profile. I wanted to actually put this out there just so you guys can see the growth over the next couple weeks. The next time I'll post a Volcanic deck profile will be after the March 7th Garden City Regional, where I'll hopefully take this deck and hopefully not completely suck ass so that I can prove that it's still pretty damn good. But I want to show this build for you guys to maybe test out, and feel free to give your input. So we're playing 3 Rocket. Rocket's like your best opener. 19 on attack, gets over level chain, which is, I wouldn't say crucial, but it's relevant. It attacks over all the Manjus. The important thing about Rocket is that if you have a Vanities up, you can pretty much just sit on Rocket and Necroz can't get over it. And that's definitely important. When I was playing this deck on DN for a while, I was trying out Barrier Statue of the Infernos, and the attack was just so low. I just realized that just sitting on Rocket is oftentimes better than trying to completely like stop them with like a Fossil Dyna or a Barrier Statue. Rocket is pretty swell. We're also playing 3 copies of Volcanic Shell, your main discard fodder. 3 copies of Volcanic Scattershot, aka the card your opponents will probably have to read every time you do it. Like, I don't know, Scattershot's obviously one of the best reasons to play this deck. Regeki on your opponent's turn is crazy. 1500 damage is crazy. And people won't fall for it nearly as much as they probably did at YCS Charleston, but people definitely will still forget about Scattershot. I mean, Cliffort players, all they really need to do to just push your shit in is just never special summon, and yet I still find Cliffort players special summoning in a whole field, and then I just Scattershot, and they're like, oh, I guess that's a thing. That's especially relevant when they try to go for a tower, because this deck doesn't play an out to tower. But I think you have like a million ways to prevent it from hitting the field. And a lot of people say that like, oh well, if I just MST the scout before they ever get to the tower, well that's like best case scenario. But you have like a million ways to Scattershot, so tower never seemed like a problem. We're also playing 3 Firestorm Guards. I mean, this is pretty much the best card in the deck. Like you wanna once you get your engine going after like turn 2, turn 3, you should just be unstoppable. You should be drawing 2 to 3 cards every single turn. I think the most I've ever drawn would be 9. But it's not unlikely to have turn after turn where you're drawing 4, 6, 8 cards at a time, and Firestorm guards, especially late game or mid game. It's not even like mid game for Volcanics is like really turn 3, because by turn 3 you have like 8 pyros in the grave and you're just way ahead in card advantage. And while I don't think card advantage matters a whole lot right now, I think card advantage, when you have so much of it, definitely is relevant and hard to ignore. Now we're playing 2 Summoner Monk just for our Monk opening with Lava Chain, which is still a pretty good opening, especially when you don't open Rocket. For the spells, we're playing 3 Duality because we want that consistency. You can definitely brick. I would not advise going first with this deck, despite the fact that you have some good first turn setups. In a perfect world, if you opened Rocket and Shell every game, I would probably go first, but that doesn't happen. I think that 6 card really matters. You can usually, like, I don't know. I haven't found going second to be bad, like, ever. Just in general, since that ruling change was made. I can't think of, like, Satellar Knights you want to go first in some mirror matches you want to go first in, but I think in general, it's better to go second, especially with this particular deck. We're playing 3 Mystical Space Typhoon because Cliffworts are kind of this deck's worst matchup in terms of the big 3. And it's not even like this deck's worst matchup by far, but Cliffworts are the hardest of the big 3 just because you can't scattershot their normal summon. So sometimes it's hard to get over. Not even like when they normal summon Disc or Stealth by tributing, but even when they just normal summon like a Carrier or Helix, it's kind of hard to get over because they're 21, so you can't attack over them with Rocket, and then they're level 4, so you can't scattershot them. But those MSTs, though. We're playing 2 Magic Planner. I think this card is one of the best cards in the deck. It does so much for you. It's easily abusable. I keep considering bumping up to 3 copies, but like opening 2 really, really sucks. Luckily, you can discard it with Summoner Monk if you don't have a good way to use it, but usually, like, you have a good way to use it. And when your opponent is like smart and not MSTing your reload, it helps to have a way to actually put it in the graveyard. Because a lot of time, like, honestly, half the time I active reload, I'm hoping my opponent will be bad enough to MST it, just so I have that scatter shot online. And then we're also playing 1 Snatch Shield as kind of like a game winner. 1 Foolish, which is kind of an easy side out. It's only good for scatter or for Shell, and it's like, I don't know. I find myself discarding it with Summoner Monk quite often. Like, it's really only good when your hand is just like absolute shit. And then we're playing 1 Wildfire. This is like the best card against Cliffworts, and Wildfire in general is just a huge tempo changer. Because if they're like kind of smart, they might play around the first scatter shot, and then like, well, I can just go all in now, and then you just Wildfire them, and they're like, okay, well, I don't know what the fuck this card does. So then they read it and they're like, oh shit. So that happens. We're playing 3 Reload. I mean, is there any reason not to play 3 Reload? Best card in the deck. And then we're playing 3 Emptiness. Emptiness is obviously really good right now in general against BA and Necros. Necros don't really have a great out to it besides just straight back row removal. All your monsters are bigger than their normal summons, so they pretty much just have to have the MST or a Book of Eclipse or Regeki to get over it. So they have like 6 or 7 outs, but if you can flip us at the correct time, you're usually pretty set. And then Burning Abyss are kind of moving to Trapless, which I don't think is the best idea anymore with Necros. Clearly, Burning Abyss did not do well at YCS Tacoma, and I think that's because people weren't playing Trap, so they couldn't deal with the Djinn lock. But Emptiness is pretty fantastic. Even against Cliffworts, it's good. Like, it's not stellar, and I wouldn't keep all 3 in going in game 2 and 3, but like I said, dealing with their normal summons is really hard, so if you don't have scatter shots, you can just flip the Emptiness so they can't get like an actual tribute summon off, so that's kind of neat. And then we're playing 3 Reckless Greed because, like, I don't know, Reckless Greed is, you can do so much with 2 cards. Like, Because 2 cards turns into like 3 cards with reload, and then it turns into 5 cards with Firestorm Guards, and it turns into 7 cards with Magic Planner. Like, this was the one card that the top 32 list was playing that I wasn't playing, and I was skeptical first, but clearly it is the right choice. So props to him for figuring that out. And then my tech choice is Mind Crush, upside down Mind Crush. No, we're playing through Mind Crush. I was gonna make a standalone video about this, but I'll talk about it for a second here. So, with when it was Shadows, Burning Abyss, and Cliff Forts, there wasn't much overlap in terms of what you could side. Like, you could main deck Shadow Mirror, but that would fuck you over against Cliff Forts. You could main deck, I don't know, like Emptiness is an example of something that's good against 2 of those, but not the third. I think Mind Crush is near perfect, if not the perfect main deck tech pick right now. It's obviously ridiculous against Necros, especially against a bad Necros player that puts 2 of the same card in his hand. It helps you push through OTKs against the deck. It's really good against Cliff Forts because it sends them to the graveyard. And if you can do that to like when they go for like a disc play, and you just discard the disc, that's amazing. If they set up, like, good Cliff Fort players set up multiple scouts, so you can Mind Crush multiples at the same time. And then against Burning Abyss, now they're moving to a more monster-oriented builds. And I don't know if they'll switch back. I think they probably should. But if they, when they reveal something to special summon, you can just Mind Crush it, and then they don't get their graveyard effect because they activated the special summon effect. So I think Mind Crush is perfect right now. It's amazing against all 3 top decks. And I think we're going to see a lot more of this going forward. I mean, like, other counters to Mind Crush, or not other counters, but other options that are similar are Shared Ride, which I feel are only good in aggressive decks, not like this one. Decks that can put in multiple like special summons, and Mistake, which this deck can't play because it fucks with your shell. Although I've tried to play it, it just doesn't really work very well. And then we're playing 2 copies of Fiendish Chain. I think 3 is a bit excessive. I mean, the last card I'm playing is 1 Compulse. So you could play 3 Fiendish Chain. I don't have a 3rd super, so I'm just playing the 2. I think Compulse is good against Burning Abyss, and it's good for getting rid of those normal summoned level 8 Cliff Fort monsters that are like literally impossible to get over. And it's an out to the Djinn lock if you like really need to get out of that. For our extra deck, I think it's pretty standard. You don't really use your extra deck a whole lot in this deck, I'm gonna be honest. Outside of Castel, I didn't really find myself using anything. So we have 1 Crazy Box, 1 Infernal Flame Vixen. So I know a lot of people don't play this card. See if we can focus that camera. Nope, because the light's in a really bad spot. So basically, once per turn, you can attach a guy to put this to 2700 attack, and then when it's destroyed and it has more than its original attack, you can banish 3 monsters in your opponent's graveyard. Basically, it's just 2700 beater. You can only make it with 2 pyro monsters, which is why you've probably never seen it before. I kind of like it as a card. I've been playing it for a while. And then we're playing 1 of this guy, who's pretty cool. Cowboy for a Game Ender. 101, because I don't know why I keep 101 in the extra deck when I probably could just play more Castels. But 101 is just like an old reliable, you know. And then we have Ragnar Zero, Lava Chain, which is probably the most used extra deck card. Dark Rebellion, Exceed Dragon. A lot of people got like really pissed, not really pissed, but a lot of people commented on my Spirit Beast deck profile why I said Rebellion was out to towers. I'm not stupid in that that I think that you can just use this on towers to get over it, because that wouldn't make any sense. What I was saying, or what I was implying, was that, so if your opponent has a towers and then a guy with 2100 attack points, which is fairly common, you can Dark Rebellion the guy with 2100 attack to put him to 3550, and then attack over towers for 50. So I wasn't implying that you can just use this on towers. Like, I didn't think that was that complicated, but whatever. We're playing 1 Exton Knight, 1 Dweller, might bump it up to 2, 1 Palpable Operative, because I always play it, 1 Carnagorgon, which is pretty cool for protecting floodgates, 1 Daigusta Emerald for when you can't draw that Firestorm Guards, and then 2 Castel, because Castel is clearly the best generic rank 4 in the game. For our side deck, we're playing Thunder King and Thunder King and 3 Twister for Cliff Forts. Thunder King is really good too. I mean, for the same effect that Mind Crushes, I would main deck Thunder King, except it kind of screws me up. And then, like, if I played Rogue or whatchamacallit, Burning Abyss, Thunder King isn't great. Like, Mind Crush is good against Burning Abyss because if they Scarm, you can hit stuff, and if they special summon, Thunder King, not so much. But these cards are really good against Cliff Forts. I'm also playing for Burning Abyss. We have 2 Max C and a Flying C, and then overlapping with Shadows, we also have 2 Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. I don't think you would really have a problem with Shadows with this deck. I mean, you can build up card advantage way faster than they can, especially since you're not using the extra deck, so they can't like get their most of their fusions. But I don't know, like these are in there mainly for Burning Abyss. I was maining them for a while, but then like with Necroz, clearly you're gonna play more Necroz than Burning Abyss. Like if I went to like a real event with these, where I knew I was gonna play meta, like at Nats or YCS, I would definitely consider main decking Imperial Iron Wall, which is the next card in the side deck. This is amazing against Necroz. I'm main decking the Mind Crushes because while they're not as good against Necroz specifically, they're better across the board and against a variety of rogue decks. But Iron Wall is definitely like a big contender. I mean, if we see the meta get super refined like we did at last year's Nats, then I would definitely consider main decking Iron Wall. And then we're playing 2 Light Imprisoning Mirror because Satellarknights are gaining some speed because of Diamond. And then we're playing 2 Defusion because this deck literally has like no out to Dark Claw. Like it's actually embarrassing. Like I went on a couple streaks with this deck on DN. I don't really like DN testing, but like I had to play some games for that podcast, and like I played against like hero players, and like it didn't even matter. Like they opened first turn Dark Claw, like I literally couldn't get over it because you can't like you can't even like reload because reloads, like you can reload, but that's like terrible. You can't Magical Planter. Emptiness doesn't do anything if they already have it up. So basically you had Compulse and Snatch Steal, and you couldn't like rocket to even get to your reload. You couldn't Scatter Shot. Like, oh my god, Dark Claw's impossible to get over. So we're playing Defusions, just because hero's really hard. Anyway, kind of long that profile, but I want to get a lot of information out there. Please let me know your thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, and I will see you later. Goodbye.